The scriptures today are bookmarked from a bush and a tree. And there's a lot of stuff going on in between. And that's sort of like our lives. We begin with the miracle of the burning bush, where God comes down from the heavens and consumes this bush in flame. Moses witnesses this. You gotta imagine the trepidation that he's having. But you see, you and I have experienced a burning bush as well. Oh, it may not have been out in the yard or on a mountaintop, but God's Spirit has come down and burned in front of us, and so gotten our attention that we believe in Him. Now, you've heard me say over and over many times that once you believe, you have to act. And Moses sets that example for us. He gets up, he goes off to Egypt, and he liberates the Jewish people. He performs those tasks which God gives to him to do. Much like you and I are supposed to perform those tasks given to us to do. So we see Moses leaving the land and traveling on into the desert, and we're taking all of our possessions, all of our food, and we're there a long time. And we run out of that which sustains us. That happens to us in our spiritual life too. We come together to get juiced up every week, if you will. If you remember those Bible stories, the Jewish people were out of food, and there's manna falls from the heavens, covers the ground, and they eat their fill. They get thirsty. Moses strikes the rock, and water flows so that they can have their thirst quenched. Paul tells us these things, alluding to the fact that Jesus now is the one that provides us through the Eucharist with the bread of life and the cup of eternal salvation, to take care of our hunger, to take care of our thirst, to sustain us week to week or day by day on the grace that He gives us through that sacrament. And we move on a little further, and Jesus is talking to us Himself now. And He begins by talking about Pilate, who were trying to discredit the Jewish believers, has a number of them murdered just for being a Jew, and has their blood mixed with the sacrifice at the temple. It was very typical back then to blame someone's misfortune on their sinful nature. And so Jesus asked that question. Were they any more sinful than you? What about the 18 that died when the tower at Siloam fell? Were they any more sinful than you? We can bring that into today's modern understanding. Were the 3,000 people that died on 9/11 when those two towers fell, were they sinful? The answer to that is well known. No. They were just like you and me. They happened to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Same situation with the Tower of Siloam and with the sacrifice that Pilate ordered done. But Jesus warns us in this scripture today that because we are all sinners, that we are all called to change our lives, to take that grace that He gives to us through His Word, through His body and blood, and to do something with it. In that reading from Exodus, Moses was told to take off his shoes. He was standing on holy ground. In the gospel reading, though, you hear about the tree planted. You and I are those trees that are planted by the Lord in His vineyard, in His orchard. And he expects us to bear fruit. But we've got a recalcitrant tree. It doesn't want to do. It wants to take the nutrients. It wants to be there, but it doesn't want to produce. So the owner is going to cast it into fire. The allegory, of course, is hell. That gardener is Jesus. And one of the things that I really like about looking at different translations of the scriptures, this was a very polite translation, fertilizer. In the actual text from it's manure. Take your choice, cow or chicken, doesn't matter. And it's going to be worked in around that tree. Jesus is going to fertilize us. He's going to dig around in us. He's going to prod us with his Spirit to grow, to take action, to bear fruit. In this gathering today, we got a lot of different fruit. But I don't know what your fruit happens to be. Perhaps you're simply called upon to be a person of prayer and to intercede with God on a daily basis for those around you who give you their prayer requests. Perhaps you're called upon to act in social justice and you're out on the street trying to get people to do what is right in so many different areas. You are called upon to bear great fruit so that at the end, when you stand before God, he can welcome you home into his kingdom. My prayer for you and for myself is that we bear much fruit and that one day we will all rejoice there and not be cast into the fire.